Nikki Haley, trying to stay relevant in the Republican Party, just pulled out 2 shivs and stuck them in 2 more cabinet nominees for Donald Trump, Tulsi Gabbard for the head of the Office of National Intelligence, and RFK Jr. as the head of Health and Human Services. She's got an axe to grind. Nikki Haley, wanted to be in the administration. She endorsed Donald Trump at the end, and Donald Trump said thanks, but no thanks. In fact, he made a big announcement when he got elected. I don't want Nikki Haley in my cabinet, along with some other people, and said that. And now it's time for payback. Speaking of payback, you're on Legal AF, the YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button. Help this channel continue to grow. I'm at the intersection. Let's take a look at what Nikki Haley said. It's remarkably similar to things that I've said in the last couple of days here on Legal AF, that Tulsi Gabbard's not just unqualified, but she is considered by the national intelligence community to be a Russian asset. It's so obvious that Russia TV, which is controlled by Putin, state-owned, speculated recently on television that she was a Russian asset. They actually said she's a superwoman, and she is likely a member or reports to the Russia security services. When Hillary Clinton a couple of years ago said that Tulsi Gabbard was a Russian asset, Tulsi went on different shows and denied it. And when Debbie Wasserman Schultz, a Democratic representative from down in Florida, just a couple of days ago said she believed that Tulsi Gabbard was a Russian asset, everybody got all upset. I mean, even Hakeem Jeffries, the newly reelected House minority leader, said, well, I wouldn't go that far to say she's a Russian asset. Yes, you should go that far. When the Russians say it, I believe it. You know, I did my own sort of hypothetical meeting in which, on a recent hot take, in which Putin was briefed by his people about who the cabinet picks were. And now I'm going to do a really bad stereotypical Russian accent from Boris and Natasha days. So tell me, who is spymaster for America? Who has got the top job in national intelligence? It must be one of their greatest spies, somebody that is my equivalent when I led the spy agency for Russia. Who is it? And they said, Tulsi Gabbard. He said, our Tulsi? Tulsi Gabbard got it? She's been on our payroll for years. Now, I'm not sure that conversation actually took place, but you see the point I'm trying to make. And so now you've got Nikki Haley. She was the UN ambassador for Donald Trump. She knows a thing or two about national intelligence. She's got top secret security clearance. Here's what she had to say. She said that Tulsi Gabbard, this is a quote on a radio show that she recently gave an interview. She said, so now she's defended, meaning Tulsi Gabbard, Russia, she's defended Syria, she's defended Iran, and she's defended China. No, she's not denounced any of these views. She's not walked them back. This is not a place for a Russian, Iranian, Syrian, Chinese sympathizer, because she has to analyze real threats to U.S. security as the director of national intelligence. I agree. I mean, what she's talking about there is that every time Tulsi Gabbard opens her mouth about foreign policy and national security interests, out comes talking points of the Kremlin, as if they were typed on word processors in the Kremlin. Like, she went on Tucker Carlson and gave the exact word-for-word justification the Russians use for having breached the sovereignty of Ukraine, killing thousands and thousands of innocent civilians. She said that they were justified. The Russians were justified because the Ukrainians were developing with the U.S. in dozens of biolabs, biological warfare in the form of a virus that would make COVID look like kindergarten, and they were going to release it on the Russians, and that's why they attacked. That is a lie. 2 years of a war tell us that was a lie as well. And the Americans denounced it, and so did the Ukrainians. But this was exactly the justification word for word in a press release from the Russians, and Tulsi ran with it. She did the same thing in Iran and in China. And in Syria, she went and protected and tried to sane wash Assad, who used chemical weapons, speaking of chemical weapons and biological weapons on his own people, committed genocide. She came back to America and said, he's our friend. He's not an enemy of America. Now she's protecting Assad. This is going to be our head. And what is that going to do? And this is the point, I believe, that Nikki Haley's making, which is, what about our allies that share intelligence with us? How are they possibly going to share it with Tulsi Gabbard, who the only way she could ever get, with her reputation as being a compromised person who should not be given national top secret clearance, the only way she's going to get it if she got the job as Donald Trump would order her to get it. He ordered 25 people in his last administration who were not qualified and were not properly vetted to get top secret security clearance, including himself. By all accounts, Donald Trump shouldn't get top secret security clearance as president of the United States, but that's not going to happen. He's going to get it. For what happened at Mar-a-Lago? For him showing top secret information and violating the Espionage Act, showing it to Susie Wiles, his now chief of staff back when he was at Mar-a-Lago, secret Iranian war plans. He would never, if he was a civilian and hadn't been elected president, he would be fired from any job requiring top secret. He wouldn't be given top secret clearance, and neither would Tulsi Gabbard. And that's the point that Nikki Haley is making. But she's not done picking off the clown car dumpster fire of cabinet picks for Donald Trump. She next turned her attention to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Now, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has a lot of problems. Mainly, he doesn't believe in science. He doesn't believe in vaccines. He doesn't believe in health or health care. And he's got his own sex assault problems because he has a person who used to be the nanny in the family who says he assaulted her. And has already come forward, which is going to be another issue. What is it with Donald Trump and white men who like to sexually assault and abuse and commit crimes against women? Weren't there any other choices out there? So here's what Nikki Haley said about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in even stronger terms. She said that Kennedy, a vaccine conspiracy theorist, quote, he's a liberal Democrat, an environmental attorney, a trial lawyer who will now be overseeing 25% of our federal budget. Can you believe that? And with Dr. Oz next to him doing everything else with all of people's entitlements, that's about 40% of the GDP of America is going to be in the hands of, get this, sit down, grab a cup of coffee, RFK Jr. and Dr. Oz. So Haley must watch our show. Nikki Haley said, some of you may think RFK is cool, but he has no background in healthcare. Some of you may like that in his questions, he questions what's in our food and what's in our vaccines, but we don't know when he's given the reins of an agency, what decisions he's going to make behind the scenes. Okay? When she ran, by the way, just to remind everybody, when she ran against Donald Trump, because she did run against Donald Trump and got a fair amount of votes, and finally endorsed Donald Trump, but only at the very, very end. She called Donald Trump, this is her words, not mine. I mean, they're similar to my words. Unhinged, diminished, confused, mentally unfit, and like a suicide for our country. Okay. Okay. And now he's going to put Kennedy in charge, who wants to get fluoride out of the water system. Get opposing vaccines. There goes vaccines for your kids and otherwise, and defluoridization. And he's going to be in charge of the Food and Drug Administration ultimately in his role, in the role at the top. So I think the takeaway from this hot take is it's good that Republicans are coming forward to take on some of these cabinet picks so people don't think it's just, it's the libs, it's the progressives, it's the free-thinking people, frankly. I'm going to do another hot take about why Pete Hegseth is going to run into the headwinds now after Matt Gaetz and the turbulence behind Matt Gaetz as he heads in to face Joni Ernst. Remember that name? Senator, former National Guards person who served abroad in Iraq and other places. When she meets Pete Hegseth and his crazy male-dominated anti-woman in the military, thoughts and prayers for him and his candidacy. If he gets that far, that's putting aside the rape charge that she's going to want to get to the bottom of as well. This is what happens when you don't put Joni Ernst as the number 3 in the Senate and you deny her that position. She's going to make herself relevant and quick, and that's what I believe Nikki Haley's doing here as well. Thank you for being here on the Legal AF YouTube channel. Hit the free subscribe button. Help us continue to grow this pro-democracy channel in collaboration with the Midas Touch Network. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories, the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.